Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the results from tonight's election, 14 state constitutional amendments.
Governor Abbott calls on a fourth special session with school vouchers and border security on the agenda.
And bond was set on a man accused in a shooting in Bloomington October 25th. The details in that case tonight.
You have one more day of mild weather. Tomorrow will be in the 80s, but colder weather arrives Friday. It'll be much colder and much wetter. We'll be talking about that coming up.
Are the Goliad Tigerettes volleyball team moving on to the next round of playoffs or not? We have the highlights in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. We have election results for you tonight, starting with Proposition 4 on the homestead tax exemption. This amendment increases the homestead tax exemption from $40,000 to $100,000 and authorizes the state legislature to limit the yearly appraisal increase on non-homestead real property. It would be the biggest tax cut in Texas history. These results are in for right now, and it looks like 85% are for it.
Proposition 9 affects the teacher retirement system. Now, this amendment authorizes the state legislature to make cost of living adjustments and other benefit enhancements to those eligible in the teacher retirement system. Voters approved this measure with 84% voting yes.
25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel is following these two measures. He joins us live with more.
That's right, Don and Karina. So like you said, both of those measures passed. Proposition 4 and Proposition 9. State Prop 4 increased the homestead tax exemption from $40,000 to $100,000 and is the biggest tax cut in Texas history. Voters approving that with 87% voting yes. And then on to State Prop 9, passing with 84% of voters saying yes to that cost of living adjustment for annuance of the teacher retirement system. Emmett Alvarez advocates for local teachers to receive better pay and benefits and says he voted yes for Proposition 9.
I voted for it, and I'm hoping that it will satisfy the retired teachers. They haven't had a COLA increase, I understand, in maybe over a decade or longer, and it's much needed given inflation, given just, cost of living has gotten ridiculous. But if this passes in Victoria, I assume it will pass across the state.
Emmett says he's witnessed teacher pay be an issue for area educators and says local teacher pay should be more competitive to retain great teachers. He added that a cost of living adjustment passing for retired Texas teachers will hopefully lead to a discussion at the Victoria ISD level to raise teacher pay for our educators. Don, Karina, back to you.
Adam, thank you. Proposition 1 is the right to farm and ranch. The constitutional amendment proposes a right to farming, ranching, timber production, and wildlife management in the state constitution. Voters approving this amendment with 80% voting for Prop 1. Proposition 2 passes with 65% of voters voting yes. This amendment will allow local governments to exempt child care facilities from property taxes. Voters approving this amendment, as I mentioned, 65% voting for Prop 2.
Proposition 3 involves a wealth tax. This amendment prohibits a wealth or net worth tax. Voters approving this proposition with 70% voting for Proposition 3.
Proposition 5 is approved with 64% of voters saying yes to the measure. This amendment will rename the National Research University Fund to the Texas University Fund. The University Fund would then gain the annual interest income, dividends, and investment earnings from the Texas Rainy Day Fund to support research at state universities. Proposition 6 will create the Texas Water Fund. The Texas Water Fund will help in financing water projects in the state. 78% of voters approving this amendment. The Texas Water Fund would be run by the Texas Water Development Board. Voters approving this agreement, as I said, 78% for.
Proposition 7 creates the Texas Energy Fund. This resolution will create a state fund allowing officials to distribute loans and grants to companies within the aim of building new natural gas-fueled power plants. Voters approved this with 65% in favor. And Proposition 8 creates the Broadband Infrastructure Fund. This amendment will create a fund to finance high-speed broadband access across the state. 69% of voters approved this amendment.
Proposition 10 is about medical equipment taxes. This amendment authorizes a tax exemption on equipment and inventory manufactured by biomedical or biomedical companies. 56% of voters approved this amendment.
Proposition 11 involves El Paso parks. This amendment allows the state legislature to allow conservation districts in El Paso County to let the county issue bonds to fund parks and recreational facilities. 63% of voters approved this amendment. And Proposition 11, or rather 12, would abolish the Galveston County Treasurer's Office. 54% of voters approved this constitutional amendment. The County Treasurers Association of Texas opposed the proposition, arguing such a change would not save money.
Proposition 13 involves judge retirement age. This amendment increases the mandatory retirement for state judges from 75 to 79 years old. Proposition 13 would also increase the minimum retirement age from 70 to 75 for state judges. Voters did not approve this amendment, with 61% of voters against it. Proposition 14 creates the Centennial Parks Conservation Fund. 76% of voters approve of this measure. The amendment creates the fund to buy more land for the state park system.
Voters approved Proposition A in the Quail Creek Municipal Utility District. This amendment adds $1.50 each month to what residents are already paying for in the Quail Creek area, bringing the total amount to $10. That amount is then divided to fund different services. Voters approved the measure, with 65% voting yes. And Proposition A concerns the Victoria County Water Control and Improvement. This amendment aims to borrow up to $3 million to improve water, sewer, stormwater, and waste disposal systems. To pay back the borrowed money, a tax will be imposed to cover the cost of these system improvements, and it looks like 83% are for it. And voters in Victoria County used new voting machines in this constitutional amendment election. The new machines use a two-step process, so when you vote, your vote is stored both electronically and on paper to maximize accuracy. When you vote, the ballot prints on paper, then you enter the ballot inside a nearby tabulator. Every polling location in Victoria used these new voting machines in the election.
And it worked pretty well for me, and I'm not exactly Mr. Science guy, so it was good. But here's your viewer poll this evening. Did you like the Texas two-step voting process in Victoria? Yes or no? And let's look at those numbers. 77% of the voters, either in our poll or in Victoria County, said yes, they like this new one, and 23% said no. We thank you for voting. And 25 News Now reporter Darius McCormick checked in with the elections office on the new voting machines.
That's right. He joins us live with what he learned. Darius.
That's right, guys. Voting was only a 1-2-step process for Victoria County this election. The newest voting technology made voting much easier this go-round. When voters opened the computer system to vote, they tapped on their screen and simply just click to make the vote. Then the ballot is printed on paper and saved on the computer. The double security ensures accurate numbers in the election. Each of the county's 26 polling locations used the new machines. Also, all the election numbers dropped on time at 7 p.m., which is a good indicator for the future. Back to you guys.
Darius, thank you. Here's a look at voter turnout in Victoria County. 7,606 people voted, or 13.61% of registered voters. Victoria County has 55,875 registered voters.
And for more on tonight's election results, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. The election results page is under news. And now let's take a break from politics and let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. And Mac, this was really nice weather to go out and vote.
Yeah, since the weekend we've had some spectacular weather, nice and mild today. Got up into the 80s. Right about now we're at 70 degrees. Our high today was 86. Of course, we're looking at an average of about 77. Thing is, on Friday, the high temperature is going to be about 64. So we're doing a big return to winter weather, and we'll have all those details coming up in just a moment. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. The third Texas special legislative session ended Tuesday morning without a deal on school vouchers, as well as several border security bills Governor Greg Abbott asked for. The Texas Tribune reports the House adjourned just after 10 a.m., preventing the passage of any legislation that still remains in the Senate. Over 30 days, the legislature passed just 2 of the 5 items on the governor's initial agenda, and none of the 5 items he later added. Never in the legislature's 176-year history have lawmakers met for more than 3 special sessions in a year with a regular session. Well, here's history. This afternoon, Governor Abbott announced special session number 4 and named items for the special session that started at 5 o'clock today. The items include school vouchers and legislation related to school safety measures. Items involving border security include creating criminal offenses for illegal entry into the state from a foreign nation and legislation to increase border barrier funding.
Police in Cuero were busy with a standoff around noon today. It happened near 2nd Street and Alamo Circle. Just before 2 p.m., police arrested 61-year-old Frank Fisher. Authorities say he violated bond conditions by being at that home. He's charged with a repeated violation of certain court orders and bond conditions. Police were at the same home October 18th and arrested Fisher on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Tuesday morning, Hallettsville police arrested 36-year-old Bradley Thomas Rosales at the 1500 block of North Texiana Street. Rosales was arrested on an outstanding warrant. He is facing 4 charges of indecency with a child. He is in the Lavaca County Jail in lieu of $100,000 bond.
Bond is set on one of the 2 suspects in a shooting in Bloomington October 25th. A pre-trial bond of $50,000 was set on Samuel Isaac Barraza. He's charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The bond was set on Barraza because he has a parent who lives outside of Victoria County. The bond allows him to live with that parent, and he must remain outside of Victoria County until he has permission from the people who are overseeing his bond. No bond on the other suspect, Zachary Wyatt Gonzalez. At about 3:30 p.m., a 2003 white F-150 was driving northbound on Sam Houston Drive when it ran a red light at Irwin Avenue. The F-150 hit a 2016 silver Dodge that was turning left onto Sam Houston. The woman in the truck was driving her dad's vehicle that did not have any license plates, and she did not have a driver's license or insurance. A 9-year-old girl in the Dodge was transported to the hospital. The driver and a passenger in the truck were transported to the hospital for precautionary measures.
An appeals court heard arguments today about whether the federal government can require state hospitals to perform life-saving abortions. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune at our CrossroadsToday.com website.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. The Supreme Court hears a Texas case on whether domestic violence suspects can be banned from having guns.
Also ahead, we take a look at other key races happening across the United States tonight on election night.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information concerning a theft. The Victoria Police Department is seeking information on the identity of a Hispanic male who is a suspect of the 2 thefts. Both thefts occurred on August 3rd, 2023, at a business at the 8600 block of North Navarro Street. The suspect has a beard and a mustache and tattoo on his forearm. The suspect left the location in a mid-1990s model maroon or red extended cab Chevy pickup. If you have any information about these thefts, please call the Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. You can also submit a tip by using the P3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to an arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With the Victoria Police Department, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
The Supreme Court might preserve a federal law that prohibits people under domestic violence restraining orders from owning guns. The case involves a Texas man who is accused of threatening to shoot his girlfriend. The justices have said they will reverse a ruling from a New Orleans appeals court that struck down the 1994 ban on firearms for people under court order to stay away from their spouses or partners. Both liberal and conservative justices were persuaded by arguments from the Biden administration's top Supreme Court lawyer that the prohibition is in line with the longstanding practice of disarming dangerous people. Across the country, voters are deciding critical issues from abortion rights to governorships.
Yeah, Democrats and Republicans are watching to see what voters care about ahead of this coming presidential election.
A year before the nation chooses its next president, 37 states holding elections Tuesday that could provide Democrats and Republicans a roadmap to 2024. Major questions on several state ballots, including abortion rights.
How important is this issue to you?
Extremely important. It determines whether or not I'm going to continue living here.
In Ohio, ABC News projects voters deciding to enshrine a woman's right to an abortion into the state constitution. But for Republicans like Joyce and John Bauer, who voted against the referendum, abortion won't be their top issue next year.
The economy is really bad. I mean, it really is.
In Virginia, where full control of the Commonwealth is up for grabs, Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin is promising to pass a 15-week abortion ban with exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother if his party wins the majority in the legislature.
I think this is a chance for Virginia to prove to be a leader, to bring people together around one of the most difficult topics in America.
In Mississippi and Kentucky, governorships on the ballot.
Thank you, Kentucky!
In Kentucky, ABC News projects incumbent Democratic Governor Andy Beshear defeating Republican State Attorney General Daniel Cameron, who tried to reframe the race around President Biden amid Biden's sinking approval numbers.
It was a victory that sends a loud, clear message. A message that candidates should run for something and not against someone.
In Mississippi, Republican Governor Tate Reeves running ahead in polls over Democratic challenger Brandon Presley, a cousin of Elvis. National Republicans and Democrats are expected to review the results of this off-year election to try and fine-tune their messages to voters in hopes of winning the White House and control of Congress in 2024. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
A drug commonly used to treat breast cancer was licensed to prevent it in England. UK health leaders are licensing the repurposing of the hormone-based therapy in the U.S. The drug was used as a breast cancer treatment in England for years, but was not previously used as a preventative drug. A 2019 study found it could reduce the frequency of breast cancer in post-menopausal women with a high risk of developing it by 49% over 10 years. This drug will be available to women who are at an increased risk for breast cancer. Now, there's a new study focusing on healthy foods.
Now, the experts say it is key to reaping the benefits of a plant-based diet.
Plant-based diets can be great for overall health, but not all plant-based diets are created equally. Those diets were more likely to lead to better health and longer lives when they were higher in whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and nuts, while being lower in sugary drinks, refined grains, and animal products, including dairy and eggs. That's based on a study by the UK Biobank of over 125,000 Britons who were followed for 10 to 12 years. Those who reported eating healthy plant-based diets had significantly lower rates of death, cancer, and heart disease. They also experienced less heart attacks and strokes compared to those who reported eating less healthy plant-based diets. With this Medical Minute, I'm Liz Landers.
We have some election updates first from the Texas Tribune. Texas homeowners and businesses will get a tax cut after voters approve Proposition 4. In the very hot Houston mayoral race, U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee and State Senator John Whitmire appear headed for a runoff. And Kimberly Mata Rubio, whose daughter died in the Uvalde school shooting, loses her bid to become mayor of Uvalde. She's at 33% in the vote. Victoria, Texas, and Antarctica now have something in common thanks to a local manufacturing company. Matthew Kappenhan, project manager for the United States Antarctica program with the National Science Foundation, is in charge of several research projects across Antarctica, which require frequent changes in location. Clegg Industries from Victoria has developed Traverse modules, which will help research crews with long-term research in the Antarctic environment.
It's basically a galley with a dining area and communications, a generator facility, and then a washroom where people can shower, use the restroom, and do laundry while they're 30, 60, 90 days out in the field.
The Traverse modules will ship to California, where they'll go on a ship bound for Antarctica.
And it's very cold down there, so I'm sure it's going to be very well insulated. Well, good evening, everybody. We're looking at cloud cover beginning to pile up over Texas, over the crossroads as well, because this is good, because we're going to start hoping that we get some significant rainfall over the next 5 to 7 days. For sure, tomorrow will be warm, but for sure, Friday will be much colder. We'll be talking about that coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the nice, mild weather we had the last couple of days. Certainly the weekend was spectacular. Today we did manage to get up into the 80s, and tomorrow we'll be in the 80s. But tomorrow's kind of like your last big, good, solid day to get anything work done outside. From then on, Friday looks a little sloppy, as a matter of fact. We are looking out at the Pacific. This is the remnants of what used to be Pilar. So it's gone, but the remnants are now being picked up by the upper winds, and you can see where they're going. They're going directly toward our area right about there. So that is hopefully going to enhance our opportunity of getting some substantial rain over the next couple of days. Now, rain is good. Winter rain is usually not very heavy in terms of volume. I mean, yeah, it's slushy and sloppy, but we don't get the 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. This is going to be around us a couple of days and may just give us the 2 inches of rain that we could use right about now. Overnight lows down into the mid 60s, not exactly chilly. We're looking for another 84 for tomorrow, so if you got stuff to do, it's going to be great. Now, if we look beyond that, things get a little bit more complicated as our weather pattern is really changing. Now, I've taken Future Tracker here. I've put it into 72 hours forward, okay? So we start on Tuesday, and we go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all the way to Friday. You can see how, yeah, we do look like we will get some substantial rain over the area. And this is good because we're 4 inches below average. And so we'll watch and wait. But the punchline for you, if you're going to be doing any work, it's going to be very different beginning on Friday. In the Rockies, we're getting this area of low pressure that's developing, and everything flows into it, okay? In other words, northerly winds are flowing into it, bringing in the cold. Tropical air is coming up ahead of it, bringing in the tropics. You mix all that together and we get a little bit of a winter storm. You can see how The low is pushing the front down, and then it's also pushing that tropical air into our region. So that is why I'm thinking that we've got a pretty good shot at getting some rainfall around here. If you have a chance to go fishing, I would go tomorrow. Thursday maybe, but not Friday. Not Friday. Nope, it's going to be very different on Friday. We're looking at tomorrow's high at 81 in Port Lavaca with a nice south wind. Tomorrow, a good day in Cuero, getting up to about 84 with a nice south wind, partly cloudy skies. Long term, things get interesting. We've got mild weather here. We've got an 81 on Thursday. By Thursday night, shower activity begins. Frontal system comes in at midnight. By Friday morning, you'll be reaching into the closet looking for your jacket because we're looking at a 70% chance of rain, high of 64 and a gusty north wind. And we've got a rain opportunity for the next 5 days. So let's just say we're going back to very winter-like weather here beginning on Friday. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. And now we'll toss it over to Gino with sports.
Thanks, Mac. The Victoria Generals are looking to pick up where they left off last season. We have the latest on their head coach after the break. At Crossroads, the Goliad Tigerettes are looking for yet another regional quarterfinals victory. The first set was a rally. Goliad on the right with London on the left. A nice spike is dug out by the Pirate defense right here, but Goliad would get another whack at it. The London offense just passes it over, and watch this spike right here by Kyla Hill. Boom, goes through the block and for the point and the set. Goliad up 1-0. On set 2, Goliad on the left. This one is blocked off the Heasy and over the line, giving Goliad yet another set, 2-0 for the Tigerettes. This is the third set. London down by a handful, and Goliad slams the door shut to sweep the London Pirates. Goliad will play the number 3 ranked Columbus Cardinals next on Friday. This one will be at the Blossom Center in San Antonio. Yoakum Lady Bulldogs are back from Seguin. Let's see how they did against the Poth Pirates. In the first set, the Lady Pirates had a 24-18 lead, and this vicious spike would get down for the Pirates, giving them the first set. In set 2, Yoakum had the lead 24-21. Poth with a nice hit, but an even better dig by Olivia Foyt. And a great recovery, and this one would go out of bounds, giving Yoakum their first set of the night. Now, sets tied at 1. Yoakum would find itself down 2-1 and down 6 points. And even though Joanna Phillips tried to get something going, the Poth defense striking back multiple times, and she would get another opportunity after this one that just goes right over and spike down, but she's ready for it, and she hits it over, but still nothing there. And I mean, this would be it. The final point for the Poth Pirates. They win 3-1. Yoakum's season is over. The Lady Gobblers season also comes to an end after a hard-fought battle with the Needville Blue Jays. Cuero found itself down 1 set, battled back and won set 2, 27-25. The two would exchange a set and go to a final 5th set, but the Gobblers just could not keep up with the Jays, falling 15-4 in the final set. Great job, Lady Gobblers. Now that the basketball season is among us, here are some new rules that are implemented during the offseason. The National Federation of State High School Association Rules Committee has decided to get rid of the 1-and-1 free throws. Instead, it will be 2 shots after 5 team fouls in each quarter. The team fouls are reset following each quarter, and this was done to reduce injuries. Well, in baseball news, the Victoria Generals announced today that head coach Michael Oros will return for his 10th season as the Generals take the field for the 2024 season. The Generals hope to build off their record-setting year as they set the field for their 16th time in the Texas Collegiate League. The Victoria Generals will play 48 games at home in Victoria, with 24 being at the historic Riverside Stadium. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gino. Now stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather with Mac. Plus, a zoo in Minnesota has welcomed a baby giraffe.
In Minnesota, the Como Park Zoo and Conservatory in St. Paul has welcomed a new baby giraffe. The calf was born Monday night and has yet to be named. This is the 3rd calf born to 7-year-old Zinnia. The zoo says the calf was already standing next to his mother less than an hour after birth. Oh my, this baby giraffe is now the 4th member to the zoo's herd and is expected to make its public debut in the next few weeks.
Look at him.
I would suggest the name Baby G, but I think there's a company already using that.
Baby G?
Is Toys R Us still with us or what? Yeah.
I don't think so, but that
They've
was
been gone
Jeffrey.
for a while.
Jeffrey and Baby G, yes.
That was Jeffrey.
Yeah. Good memories there.
And they're so cute. They really have to stick their neck out.
Oh my gosh, and that's not a tall tale either.
Oh my goodness.
It is a tall tale, about that tall. Anyway, folks, we do have a day tomorrow that you can enjoy. We'll be in the 80s if you're going to be outdoors. Just remember, by Friday morning, the big north wind blows in and it's going to be much colder and wetter. In fact, we're looking at rain activities to be fairly significant on Friday, continuing into Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week because the air mass is going to stall and we're going to get an overrunning pattern. But bottom line is, if you got to get her done tomorrow before the storm comes in.
All right, sounds good. We'll do it.
Well, you guys, thank you, Mac, and thank you, Dawn, and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Check out more election returns on our website, crossroadstoday.com. Join Carolina and meteorologist Parker Cox for 25 News Now Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.